In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to do a long tail German twisted cast on. This is my personal favorite cast on for hats, socks, and anything that you want a stretchy cast on for. So I am going to start off with the tail of my yarn and my needle in my left hand. I'm going to pinch the tail of the yarn in between my index and my thumb, and I'm going to wrap the yarn around the needle in a multiple of the number of stitches I'd like to cast on today. For this demonstration, I'll be casting on 10 stitches. So I'll wrap the yarn around my needle 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now I have the amount of yarn I need to cast on 10 stitches, so I'll double that, and now I have the amount of yarn I need to cast on for 20 stitches. And then I'm just going to give myself a tail. So now we have yarn coming from the ball and yarn coming from the tail. We're going to set up our yarn in our left hand. So the yarn's going to come from the ball over the thumb, and then from the tail over the index finger, and create this strand right here. Then these 3 fingers are just going to close around those 2 strands. We'll take our needle in our right hand and we'll create our first stitch by just creating a loop. So we're going to come on top of that strand and just twist. So I'll show you that once more. So just twist. Then give yourself some slack. So now we have a strand that comes up from our hand over our thumb to our needle, and over our index finger to our needle. So we're going to come under the strand that is coming up from our hand over our thumb, over the strand that's coming from our thumb to our needle, and that creates a loop. So now we have this loop, and then we're going to come under the strand that's going from our index finger to our needle, and then we're just going to bring the loop through and tighten. So I'll show you once more. So we're going to come under the strand coming from our hand over our thumb, over the strand coming from our thumb to our needle, bring that loop down, then we're going to come under the strand from the index finger to the needle. So I'll show you once more slowly, but I won't say it. So, once more, under the strand that's coming up from our hand over our thumb, over the strand coming from our thumb to our needle, loop down, under the strand coming from our index finger to our needle, then bring it through the loop, let go, and tighten with your thumb. So, I'm going to cast on a couple stitches pretty quickly so that I can demonstrate how to set this up on Magic Loop. So Magic Loop, we hold our needles like this. So we are going to just slip this needle down, and you can actually put the stitches onto the second needle, but you don't have to. It makes things a little bit tighter, so I actually prefer to keep it on the cord. And then with the exact same setup we had before, we're just going to do the exact same thing. The first stitch is always a little fiddly, so I like to anchor it with my thumb. And then we're just going to cast on the exact same amount of stitches or whatever the pattern calls for. So once more, we're going to go under the strand coming from our hand over our thumb, over the strand that's coming from our thumb to our needle, and under the strand coming from the index finger to the needle. So, yeah. And then to set up it on Magic Loop, we already have stitches here. We're going to just slide our needle, and then if we're working in the round, we're just going to pull out this back needle and we can start working from the round. When you're setting it up, you want your working yarn over the cable so you don't create a loop and then you can just begin to knit.